We haven't been on a family vacation in ages.
But Mom, really, hot springs, aren't they for over-the-edge wackos?
Moon Podcast Escalation!
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan D. White.
My name is Chris Sims, and this is Sailor Business. It's the podcast where we sit down with a friend and watch every episode of the classic 1992 Sailor Moon anime and talk about just why it is that we love this show so much. And it's going to be a weird one today. It's going to be weird, but I think we're going to have a good time with it. This week's episode is episode 40, which is the legendary lake yokai, The Bond of Usagi's Family. And if you want to watch along with us, that is on Hulu. And it's also available on DVD, which is how I am watching it. And it is also available in the year 1996 in English, if you would like to go back in time and watch the original dub.
Wow.
Yeah, if you have time travel technology, that's the first thing you'd do, right? Is go back and watch USA in the morning in 1996.
Getting a hotel in 96 to watch some TV wouldn't be that expensive. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure. Look, if you're time traveling on a budget, just do that. Just remember they had different money back then.
Yeah, they wouldn't recognize all those giant portraits on the bills now. Yeah.
Yeah, those giant fives. So Eric is here.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
We've been having our own weird conversation. Our guest this week, returning to the show, a good friend of mine, former collaborator on some comic books, Erica Henderson. Welcome back.
It's great to be back.
Now, Erica, we talked about your history with Sailor Moon and your love of Tuxedo Mask.
Yay.
Of the monster that is Tuxedo Mask, the 53-year-old street harasser, Tuxedo Mask. We talked all about all that last episode, so if you're just joining us, you can catch Erica on that one, which is a very fun episode.
I mean, maybe it's just that culture was different and street harassment wasn't as bad back then. It wasn't considered as off-putting.
I just feel like calling someone a trash pile is pretty mean. Look, I've certainly called people worse than trash piles in my time.
I mean,
and it
listen,
has been me.
Is it count as street harassment if you know the person? Isn't that just regular harassment?
Yeah, but she doesn't know his name for like 30 episodes.
I mean, to be fair, she only knows him as the guy who yells at her for a lot of episodes, yeah. But I mean, again, he's trying to zing her, and clearly that one went too far because it makes her cry. And then he never goes that far again.
I just want to know what he's doing riding a toy train. That's all.
Yes, his reason.
Okay, if you had the option, you would do it too. That's all.
Oh yeah, but I would also not make fun of someone for riding a toy train.
That's true. That's true. It is a little weird to make fun of someone for doing the thing that you're doing.
Yeah. While you're doing it, while you're both there, he did not think that one through.
Oh well. Anyway, good guy.
So normally, when we have a returning guest who has already talked about their connection to Sailor Moon, their history with Sailor Moon, their love of Sailor Moon, we do a little bit of Twitter questions. But before we get into that today, I actually have an update. You may remember a couple weeks ago we had my good friend Jordan Witt as a guest.
Uh-huh.
She has sent me a little update. Now, she had never watched Sailor Moon before.
Right.
What?
She had not seen a single episode before
Jordan's
she sat down.
Never watched Sailor Moon.
Jordan had never watched Sailor Moon.
Okay.
And we
Now,
showed
the
her
last
two
time-
of the least appropriate episodes to watch for your first two
Yes.
episodes.
Awesome.
This was right before.
Was it the one where
Eurostop.
he gets Tuxedo Mask gets turned?
No, it was the two before your two. So it was the ski episode, and what was the one before the ski? And the Princess Seminar episode. Totally random. So ridiculous.
So Jordan sent me an email that says, if you wanted to update everyone on your next podcast on my current status as a Sailor Moon fan, I'd be cool with that. You could let them know that I watched the other two episodes that y'all suggested, and I like them a lot, and I suddenly own a Sailor Moon shirt.
Nice.
So we are doing Queen Serenity's work.
I like suddenly own the Sailor Moon shirt. Like it just appears when you watch enough episodes of the show.
Like it was not a purchase that she made.
Nope. And if in case you forgot, we recommended to her the first Jupiter episode and the Luna Luna Pursued by a Million Cats episode. Both great ones. So I'm glad they convinced her.
Yeah, so Jordan, do we have any Twitter questions from our listeners for this week's episode?
Of course we do.
Oh, good. I like questions.
We do, and we have a ton, but keep sending them in because we love getting them. First one is definitely one that I am not equipped to answer, but I know, Chris, you are, and it sounds like you would be as well, Erica. But if there was a Pokemon Sailor Moon crossover, what Pokemon would Sailor Moon have in her squad?
Well...
So these are like her, if she could have any 3 Pokemon that she uses?
Sure. I mean, 3 is a good number. I don't know where you got that from, but it's perfect.
Yeah, Erica, you can have 6 in your party.
I have no idea.
But I thought like in a regular fight it was just 3?
No, it's 6.
I don't, it's been even longer since I've like looked at Pokemon. I'm sorry.
Gym leaders usually have 3, I think. 3 or
I've
4.
never...
Okay, that's what I'm thinking about then.
I've never played Pokemon or watched it or anything.
Oh, Jordan, you should get into it. It's great. It's great.
I feel like I'm too late to this party. I can't come this late to Pokemon.
Look, first of all, they're games for babies.
So that I'm overqualified.
They are fairly easy to get into. They're not. I am not the primary market for those games. Like they're kind of assuming that they're going to get some first timers in there.
Well, at any rate, what Pokemon does Sailor Moon choose?
Well, let's see. There's a lot of cats.
I'm into like Jigglypuff. It makes you fall asleep, right? It's a nice lazy one.
I actually feel like Jigglypuff would be a really great Pokemon for Usagi. Jigglypuff sings and makes you fall asleep.
That's great. I actually know Jigglypuff from Smash Brothers. So
great.
That one I'm familiar
Perfect. I only know the first batch, the first 102.
What are there now, like 10 million or what?
Yeah, about 10 million.
There are 700.
So yeah, about 10 million.
Yeah, it's the same number.
Round up to the nearest 10 million. Come on.
Once you get over like a certain number of names you have to memorize, it just may as well be like a bajillion. And I don't care anymore. It's just a terrible high number.
You can't fit them on a poster anymore.
It's true. That's some BS.
There are a couple of moon-related Pokemon. There's Lunatone, which is a moon-shaped rock, a crescent, a floating crescent moon-shaped rock with eyes.
How does it attack?
I don't know. Lasers.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I feel like she would hold on to her Magikarp just because like it's so dumb. She would want to take care of it.
I mean, I feel like she would probably kick her Magikarp. She'd be very frustrated with it.
But it'd be like that horrible situation where like she would love it, but she would hate it. So she would keep it around, and it would get abused a lot.
Let's see. There's also Clefairy, which is from the moon.
I just Googled ice cream Pokemon, and I found Vanillux.
Vanillite and Vanillux. So, that is an ice cream cone that evolves into a bigger ice cream cone that evolves into 2 ice cream cones. It's one of my faves. I would say that's a strong possibility.
I'm a big fan of Chansey myself.
What does Chansey do?
I honestly don't remember. I just love Chansey.
Chansey is the Pokemon that all the nurses have. It's a very caring Pokemon. It has a little egg and a little pocket on its front, like where a kangaroo's egg or where a kangaroo's pouch would be, but like smaller and with an egg.
I just want to give her all of like the dumb, soft, round Pokemon.
So your Clefairies, your Chanseys, your Jigglypuffs. Slowbro would be pretty good.
I know Snorlax from Smash Brothers as well.
Snorlax is tied for my fave with Bulbasaur. But yeah, I love some Snorlax. The Pokemon that just eats and sleeps. I identify with him.
All right, well, we've got some good answers there.
That's a good roster of Pokemon for Usagi.
All right.
Next question is Serena meets Jubilee 92. Who is the first to have their thought circuits freak out?
Run that one by me one more time.
That's all you, buddy.
Serena meets Jubilee 92. Who is the first to have their thought circuits freak out?
I feel like they would hate each other.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're too much alike. But Jubilee is really if you go back and read those comics, which I have been recently for obvious reasons, Jubilee's like really defensively aggressive. She's really like defensively offensively kind of snotty. Like she's a Rey. She's a total Rey.
Yeah, you're right. She would be upset at Usagi for not being the superhero she that Jubilee wants to be.
Well, she would be upset at Usagi for doing so badly at the Sailor V video game, and then Jubilee would be like move over, I'll show you how to do it. And then she would blow up the video game with her powers. And then Usagi would be mad at her. So I think Jubilee would be the first to have her thought circuits freak out.
Okay.
I'm available to write that comic, by the way.
Here's
Erica, you drawing anything?
Yeah, I'm a little busy right
Got a
now.
break coming up?
That's okay. We don't have the rights to Sailor Moon just yet. A couple of questions. Okay, somebody points out, did you notice that in the intro of Sailor Moon, the background is some sort of photography textbook? And they have a screenshot, and it's true. It's very weird.
Wait, what?
There's a screenshot. Here, I'll send you a link. There's a screenshot of in the opening of the show.
And that's the original opening.
Yes. That there's a background that has a bunch of text, and you can actually read it, and it's in English, and it's like from a photography. The most dramatic changes we've man-made where roads of it gets cut off, but
oh, you know what, I get it. It's like a school thing. It shows her in her school outfit right there.
It's just some text.
Yeah, but it's the same way that if someone here wanted to make something like cool and exotic, they would use like Japanese or like Chinese.
Sure.
They're doing the same thing.
We would have no idea what it says. Next question. This is also from the same person, David Pendris. Why do both Batman the Animated Series and Sailor Moon intros feature flying machines that do not appear in the actual series?
Okay.
Aren't there blimps in the Batman cartoon? Not always, but...
They're not frequent, but
right.
The Zeppelins do exist in the show. The Zeppelins in the opening of Sailor Moon do not exist. There is no, which is weird, because you'd think Jedi would have one point been like, these people are really into Zeppelins. We should get in on this Zeppelin craze.
It's the primary mode of travel in the Moon Kingdom.
Yes, apparently.
Zeppelins are very popular in the Moon Kingdom.
It's weird, right?
I actually thought at one point, I was like, okay, I know why the Zeppelins are in the Batman thing, because it's a retro thing, right? It's a very immediate way to kind of signify this, 30s, 40s Art Deco aesthetic that they're trying to work with.
Sure.
I do not know why they were in the Sailor Moon opening, and I thought at one point I was like, okay, did they just see the Batman the Animated Series opening and oh, I guess I guess you put Zeppelins in the opening of your cartoon. This is really successful. We'll do that. And then I realized, no, Sailor Moon starts in February of 1992.
Yeah.
So, it's 6 months before Batman. So I have no idea why there's Zeppelins in there.
Because they're cool.
If anybody knows, tell me.
Probably because they're cool.
Probably because they're cool. I mean, they are cool, but they would be cooler if you actually use them than they are to just...
They might have, maybe at one point thought they would use them. They're like, eh.
It's a Watchmen reference because there's Zeppelins there. All right, we got no good answer for you there. Here's one that we don't really want to answer. Which is in
great.
your epic.
Why would you ask?
Because I'm just gonna go quick. In your epic office idea, wouldn't it work even better with three seasons of villains, and then they say Tomo/Daryl is down in the warehouse? Sure, it would. The season 2 villains and the season 3 villains are great, and really it would work with all of them. But when we get to them, we'll talk about their personality quirks more. With that, we don't want to spoil it all.
Yeah, well, the Black Moon Clan.
They're great.
They are great. I'm just trying to think, are they quite as geared towards starting small businesses?
No, the Black Moon Clan.
Dark Kingdom?
The Black Moon Clan is a totally different reality show. Black Moon Clan is like a, Kardashians or Paris Hilton kind of show. All those girls who are just care about makeup and being more beautiful than each other.
Look, there's a little bit more to the Black Moon Clan than that.
There is, but that is a lot of it. Come on, admit it.
Fine.
Anyway,
Fine.
We'll get to them.
Yeah. Look. If the Dark Kingdom office ran for 8 years, or however long that show went,
right, it would go through phases.
Yeah. You would get you get the addition of Aaron and the interns, and Alan and Ann would show up.
Who was Robert California? I forget.
Who was Robert California?
There's somebody you said was him, and I forget.
I had a really good one.
Oh well. All right. Here's one. Oh gosh, here's one for me that I haven't thought about. Who is Shikla's favorite Sailor Scout? Assuming Wade lends her his DVDs, of course. So that's talking about Deadpool and Deadpool's wife, Shikla, who is a succubus. I don't think she likes it. I think if Shikla watched Sailor Moon, she would be on the side of the the Dark Kingdom the whole time and be like, oh man, how are they letting these girls thwart them? I absolutely think she'd be on the side of the monster. She would think it was like a horror show, a tragedy, the tragedy of Queen Beryl. All right, I guess I'm alone there.
Hey,
I don't know.
That is your area of expertise, my friend.
It is.
You're the guy on that one.
But what about like that? Wasn't there like an evil grown-up version of Chibiusa?
Oh yeah, Dark Lady.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in as
Yep.
my vote
That would make sense.
she has like the best dress, basically.
Well, here's one from James Fletcher pointing out the same thing that Chris has been pointing out, which is that doesn't it seem like evil Tuxedo Mask does more good to actually interfere with the monsters than when he's ostensibly good? Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately true.
Evil Tuxedo Mask has no desire to teach Sailor Moon about self-reliance.
No. I guess that's
So-
why. There you go. That's his evil
Yeah.
nature. He doesn't need her to be able to do anything on her own. Okay, here's one from someone named Squirrel Girl on Twitter. Always wondered why the other planets just give up their princesses to the Moon Kingdom. Like, don't they have pressing matters to take care of on their own planets? Is it some kind of alliance?
No, look, nothing's going on Jupiter.
Well, that's the thing. We've never seen any evidence that there is life on these other planets. I mean, I know that's a stupid thing to say because there must be, because they have princesses from those planets, but we never
Are
flash
they
to them.
from there, or are they sort of just symbolic of those planets?
Oh, interesting. I never thought of that. Because they always say they're the princesses of those planets. But you're right. They could just be like, they just represent them on a cosmic scale in some way. But there's no people on those planets. I mean, because again, there's not. Like, we know there's not. I mean, we know
And,
there's no people
like,
on the moon, but.
Because the moon people are all just humans, right? Just on the moon.
That's a great question too. This is a new idea to me. I've never thought of it that way. But if that's what it is, that like people
I guess
on
I
Earth,
never considered that they were like from the other planets. I always thought they were just like, humans that represented other planets.
that makes a lot of sense. That they're actually all from Earth, and Earth just kind of made up their own system that involves, other planetary bodies, and just said, yeah, you represent this one, you represent that one. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. You don't have to rule over Mars. You don't have to go there. It just means you are that for our purposes.
Very symbolic.
Weird. All right. Well, I think that's it for now. But again, keep sending us in more questions, and we will be happy to answer them at Sailor Business on Twitter. And
Yeah, and let us know how you celebrated Usagi's birthday.
Right.
Last week.
Yeah, right. That last week, right?
Yeah, last week. Definitely not 3 days from now. Last week is when that happened. June 30th. All right, so you guys ready to dive into this episode?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right, one more time, if you are listening and you want to watch along with us, this is episode 40, The Great Lake Yokai, the bond of Usagi's family.
All right, Chris. I'm taking out a timer.
Okay, 5 seconds.
5 seconds is
All I need.
I'm gonna give you 30 seconds.
Just can I just do 1 second? Just get 1 second of your time.
I'll give you 15 seconds. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
On your mark, get set, go.
This is the story of Usagi Tsukino. She's a 14-year-old girl. She's a Cancer. Her blood type is O. She is secretly Sailor Moon. She is also the reincarnation of Princess Serenity of the Moon Kingdom. She fights the
stop.
Dark Kingdom. It's not a bad summary.
No, I mean, I could see why they left out the blood type after a while, Chris, because
Yes,
those were seconds you could have used.
Listen. There's other scouts. Okay, look. 5 Inner Senshi. 5 Sailor Scouts. Amy Mizuno, the kind-hearted girl genius. Rei Hino, the hot-headed psychic, who is Sailor Mars. Amy is Sailor Mercury. Minako Aino, who is Sailor Venus, basically the exact same as Sailor Moon, but she's been around for longer. Makoto Kino is Sailor Jupiter. She is really strong and is always heartbroken over the boy who broke her heart. They're not in this episode.
Wrong.
That's wrong.
Okay, fine. They're not important in this episode.
Oh,
This episode is all about Usagi and the people who may or may not be her parents.
I mean,
Depending on how you
I
want to
mean,
look at it.
she's like a reincarnation, right? So she's like,
Yes.
they did, give birth to and raise her.
Yes. But there's a lot of magic involved. It's complicated. Usagi also has a talking cat named Luna, who's also not in this episode, except for like a little bit.
Also wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Not important in this episode.
do you think it's like maybe that's what it is? Maybe it's like they reincarnated her, right? And so they're like, okay, if we're going to reincarnate her, that means her spirit will go on and it'll like, be back and it'll be basically the same as it was. But then they like accidentally reincarnated her to these parents who are like flaky and lazy and scared. about things. And so like that adds in all these other things to her. And they're like, man, we really blew it. We should have given her some good parents. I don't know.
But also, going back to last week, when you were asking about why I liked Rey so much as a kid, I think also part of it was that even when she's not a Sailor Scout, she still has magic power. She's still like a Shinto priestess who, like, you know, can deal with demons.
Yep, that's true.
She has double the powers of anyone else in the team.
Well, do you want to know?
That's not true.
Well,
because we've talked about this. They all have powers.
Yeah,
because
to different extents. If you count smartness and strongness power.
Well, I would say, like, look, if we are to take these things at the face value of what we are told, Amy has an IQ of 300.
Yeah, that's
which
pretty
is
ridiculous.
Literally
Is she actually?
impossible.
Is that the number?
Yes.
That's what they say.
That is her listed IQ, which would be ridiculous if Kamen Rider's IQ was not 600, which is hilarious.
Preposterous.
Yes. And also, Kamen Rider never actually shown to be that smart.
And Makoto is very, very, very strong. Like we've seen her do some very strong things.
It's true. We just watched Lupta Man.
Yes.
And then we know Usagi's superpower is friendship.
Yes.
And then Venus, we don't really.
Well,
I
someone
want to
pointed
argue
out-
that, but I work on Squirrel Girl, so I really can't, like, yell at you about that superpower.
She's
Someone-
the best friend in the world.
Someone actually pointed out to us that if you go and look at Codename Sailor V, which I really like, Minako's very good at athletics, like at gymnastics.
Right.
So she has like, you know, athletic based abilities. But yes, like Rey, to be fair, is a priestess who can perform exorcisms and also knows karate.
But
so she's a quarter monster.
yes, that's what I was going to say. We figured out that the reason she has psychic powers is because she's 1/4 monster. Because in the
Her
episode,
grandfather's a monster.
her grandfather is a reincarnated monster.
I don't mean like he's a bad person.
He's a monster he's one of the 7 great monsters of the times of the Moon Kingdom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Put into a human body, and all of the monsters that came back as people, all the people had psychic powers of some sort or other, either telepathic or telekinetic or this and that and the other thing. And then we realized if Rey's grandfather has it, that's probably why she has hers.
Yeah.
So it all makes sense.
Yes. So none of that has anything to do with this episode. The Dark Kingdom doesn't have anything to do with this episode.
It does.
The race thing has to do with this episode, actually.
I guess.
It really does.
Yeah, because it does come up. It does come up.
She's like the only one that can stop this thing.
All right, let's get into it.
So the episode starts with Luna waking up in the morning and going, oh, let's good. I'm gonna have 2. It's a holiday, so we're gonna have 2 days to just work on sailor business.
Sailor business.
Exactly. We're just gonna work on. Well, I think does she say something like work on like becoming a princess or something? And it's like, okay, again, she's already a princess, but but it turns out. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say very class oriented.
Yes.
You know.
You have to become a princess. But this is actually kind of crazy because Usagi has gotten up before Luna silently without waking Luna, which is impressive for her, and has snuck out of the house and left a note for Luna to read. I'm looking
I love
at the
this note, by
It
the
is
way.
adorable, yeah, because it has.
There's a little picture of Usagi smiling and waving hello at the top of it.
Yes.
And then there's like a picture of a car driving towards a picture of hot springs, and there's like there's a picture of pork buns in there.
Yep.
Which is pretty funny.
I mean, there's lots
I
of
really love
words
the note.
as well, but she's just
Yes.
punctuated them with little drawings. It's adorable. A little Luna.
very cute.
And also, I just also love the idea of Usagi's family thinking she's completely fucking insane because she,
Right,
Shingo
she's a
mentions
weird
that.
cat lady.
she writes a note for her cat.
Shingo mentions it. She goes like, I don't understand why you left a note for the cat. Like, that's weird. My favorite thing about this is that, all right, look, 40 weeks in. We're coming up on a year of doing this in 3 months, which I guess is not really coming up on a year, but we've been doing this for a while. I still don't know if Luna is a cat or a people.
She's a cat.
Is it like a lockjaw situation?
No.
Yeah.
That's a real debate. That's a real serious debate that does not
And this
have a
isn't?
definitive answer. No, because Luna is just a cat. Luna is a cat, and she also can talk and think. I mean, she eats out of a cat bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
well, that's the thing.
But
Like,
so did Salem with Sabrina.
right.
well, yeah, and
Was she
Salem
not a-
was a person who was turned into a cat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
effed up. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Salem,
Yeah, he was punished. He's a person. They just keep him as a pet.
Oh, wow,
'Cause
that's
he's
really
like-
screwed up.
Salem was imprisoned in a cat body for 1,000 years.
In case the listeners are unfamiliar with Lockjaw is a giant dog who can teleport. Who's
Maybe a dog.
well, that's what I was. I mean, he's
He's a dog.
To the eye,
He's a giant inhuman dog.
if you see him, you just go, that's a giant dog who can teleport. Now, the question is, he's with the Inhumans, and the question has always been, is he a dog with superpowers, or is he a human who has become an Inhuman, and when he transformed, became a dog, and then they just treat him like a dog? Now, there have been comics that have officially said both of those things.
yeah, it was what was it? It was Peter David, right? It was
No.
Peter David retcon.
Oh, Peter
Or John Byrne.
Byrne did the original thing, saying, "Look at Lockjaw. He used to be a person, and now we treat him like a dog, because that's what happened. He went through the thing and became a dog, and now we are just like fetch boy." And then he says something like Lockjaw's like, "Yeah, it sucks" or something.
Which is the only time Lockjaw has ever talked.
Right. And then Peter David, much later, went back and went, "Oh yeah, one time I was playing this prank on the thing, and I made it sound like Lockjaw could talk, and then he was an Inhuman. Ha ha, dumbass." I have talked about this topic with the writer of the current Inhumans book, and I've talked about this with Tom Brevoort, who's one of the executive editors of Marvel. Let me just say, they have differing opinions. So right now, it is not officially
I want to know
confirmed.
who does what. I want to know who thinks what. You can tell me later.
Okay. So yeah, this is unsettled. But Luna, I think,
look,
is just a cat.
Look. What was Lockjaw's last starring role? Was it in a book called Avengers, or was it in a book called Pet Avengers?
Ms. Marvel.
Oh,
But yes, he was in Pet Avengers.
Lockjaw is a
Okay.
member of the Pet Avengers. Now, admittedly, there is a man who turned into a frog in that book.
Yes,
yeah.
that's
so
true. No,
just because he's treated
Actually,
like an
no.
animal doesn't mean that he's not a person.
no, because that's not Thor turned into a frog. That's a frog that got the powers of Thor. That one.
No, that's Simon Walters.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he was a man who was turned into a frog who was turned into Frog Thor.
What? Okay.
Did you not read that?
I did. It's been a long time. All right, then there you go.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's turned into a frog. Who then
Because
turned
listen,
into a god
if you
frog.
go back and read the Frog Thor story, there's a frog in that story who like talks to Thor and he's like, "Yeah, I know what it's like to be turned into a frog. I used to be a guy.
Oh
I'm
my
a frog
God.
now. Whatever."
And then he's Frog Thor. Okay.
And he becomes Frog Thor. And I believe it's either him or Beta Ray Bill when there was that Beta Ray Bill series that I think Mike Emming did, where one of those characters is named Simon Walters after Walter Simonson.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot that. So then there you go. It's totally up in the air. I mean, again, the Inhumans also have a guy who was turned into a door, and that's not debated.
The Inhumans are pretty weird.
The guy who was turned into a door used to be a guy, and now he's a door, like official. So anyway,
Is he like Doorman from the?
no, what's his
So
name?
I guess the real question with this for me is whether or not Lockjaw is now a dog, or if he is a human that is horribly mutated. Like if he's just always suffering.
I mean, it is one of
Lockjaw
those
is
two.
a dog. Lockjaw's a dog.
Somebody, I forget.
According
who it
to
was.
you.
Yeah, somebody.
According
has-
to me.
Yeah, and he also has the same tuning fork as Master. I don't know what that's all
Yeah.
about. Eldrak, by the way. Eldrak is an Inhuman who became a huge architectural-like being who gained the ability to transport other people from one space to another interdimensionally via his mouth.
But he's not
That's
a
pretty
door.
great.
No, they walk through his mouth like a doorway, and it takes people to different places.
But he's not an actual door like this other guy.
No, this is the guy I was talking about, but
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like he literally turned into like a door, like with a knob.
no, but he's a
he's
doorway.
architectural.
Yeah, I mean, he's a door.
Okay.
He can't move.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right. So getting back to this,
Sorry.
I have heard, like, people are like, "Do you want me to spoil like the Luna thing for you?" And I'm like, "No, I will discover it for myself in time." But there have been people who are like, "Luna's a cat," and there are people who have been like, "Well, sometimes Luna's a people." And if Luna is a people, Luna should not be eating cat food out of a bowl.
Okay.
They should not just leave cat food in a bowl for Luna.
No. Well, here's the deal with that. Yes and no. Because even if Luna is Salem style, a former person who is now a cat, she's still a cat. And cats need very specific dietary needs. Cat food is...
I mean, most cat food, but at the same time, she's also undercover as a regular cat that
Yes.
isn't like guardian the Moon Princess.
like for example,
So,
if
you're not gonna just give her like a pile of like meat that you made because
Right.
cats are omnivores that are like from the grocery store because she's got a cover.
But also, it's not good for them. I mean, well, it's fine for them to eat it, but like if you just feed your cat meat like that you bought like human meat, it will not satisfy all of their needs. Apparently, they need bone meal because they're supposed to eat animals whole.
Oh yeah, the same with ferrets. They're both obligate carnivores.
So they put that in the food.
Did we not have the Lunas of people debate when we were talking about whether Luna should go out with that cat, with Hercules?
I'm sure we did.
With Rhett Butler.
Right, but that's different.
How is that? Like, look, how is that different? How is that different?
Because being a person who's trapped in a cat body and like eating cat food is one thing. Especially like pretending to be a regular cat. Like going off and screwing other cats is weird if you're a person.
Yeah, or it's even weird if you're a cat who is hyper intelligent and all other cats are animals to you.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that guy in the Time Machine who like found the Eloy and fell in love with him. It's like, this is like an animal you fell in love with. She's pretty, but like, you know, it's like he's now dating a 5-year-old.
Right.
I am just uncomfortable with Luna being given a bowl of cat food.
It might taste really good. It could be like, you know, the best version of Fancy Feast they have in Japan.
It probably. They're just the Skino family. They're not rich. They're just buying whatever cat food they buy. But
it's true. I was trying to make Chris feel better.
But it's fine. She needs it. You know what?
There's a big bag with a picture of a cat on it.
Yes. But you know what? Listen, just pretend Luna is one of these people who is so practical and they're like, I want to eat Soylent. That's all I want to eat all the time. You know about this?
No. I mean, actually, I do have a friend who
don't eat
told
Soylent.
me that he only, a friend of mine told me that he does not enjoy eating.
Yeah.
And he only does it to stay alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird, brother.
There's a couple of things out there now that bill themselves as food replacements, and one of them is called Soylent, and it supposedly has everything you need. It tastes lousy, supposedly, but it's got everything you need, and if all you do is you just, 3 times a day you drink this thing, and that's all you need for your entire health. And supposedly people are like, yeah, I don't want to think about food, I don't want to have to worry about it ever again, this will take me for the rest of my life, I'm covered.
Okay, so we're like 80 minutes into discussing this episode.
And we're about 2 seconds into the episode.
Yes. One more thing I want to point out with this, and then we'll move on.
All right.
Is that 3 things have been left on the table for Luna. There's a bowl of cat food and some cat food that says good taste on it in English. So at least they got that.
Yeah, it
There's
tastes
the
good.
note.
It's on the can.
There's the note that Usagi leaves, the decorated note for Luna. And there's a magazine about the hot springs that they're going to. Or maybe it looks like a magazine. It might be a flyer.
Yeah, probably a brochure.
But I love the idea. I love the idea that Usagi's like, listen, you can't go to the hot springs with us. Here's a little magazine about it. Enjoy yourself. Like, take a read. We'll talk about it when I get home. I left you a little thing I'll let you something to read if you get bored.
It's pretty great. Because again, she knows the cat can read. She's terrible at secret identities. And so she just does this blatantly. And her family is just humoring her.
Yeah. So Luna is very upset. And I'm not really sure if she's upset that Usagi is not there to do her princess studying. Or if Luna wanted to go to the hot springs.
It's unclear.
Luna wanted to go on vacation with the fam.
You don't bring cats to the hot spring, get it?
You don't.
I mean, look, I know that. But again, Luna might not be a cat. Luna might have desires to go to hot springs.
Yeah, probably. So the Skino family is driving to the hot springs. They're on their way there. Sammy is in the backseat playing a video game and just freaking out about it, and Usagi steals it so she can play it. But oh no! In the fight, out pops her music box, her locket. It's the locket that she got from Tuxedo Mask that he left somewhere one time. And eventually he said she could have it. And her father's like, "Oh, why are you so freaked out about that locket? Did some boy give it to you?" She blushes and goes, "Something like that." And her father,
he almost murders everyone in their car and another car.
Yes,
he's so mad.
Swerves and turns around in the seat. And I like this. It's been a really long time since we've seen the Tsukino family. And I love, like, we've seen Usagi and her mom together most often, and they are like exactly alike. But now we're seeing her with her dad, and it's like there's a very early episode where we see her dad running out of the house with toast in his mouth, which is my favorite. But like we're kind of seeing that, like, yeah, her parents are exactly like her. She is exactly the child of her parents, which is pretty great.
She calms him down by doesn't he say something like, "Are you seeing another boy besides your father?" or something like that?
No, but behind his back.
Behind your father's back. And she's like, no, nothing like that. And he's like, "Oh, okay." In the Deke dub, the mother says something like, "Oh, she probably got it from Melvin," and that's what calms him down. And he's like, "Oh, Melvin. Oh, okay."
That's amazing.
Yeah, Usagi flip out when he says that.
No. She's trying to get him to cool down, so she goes along to get along. So they get to this beautiful lake, and Sammy is super bored. He's like, "This is lame." Where's
Shingo?
Shingo, aka Sammy. Sammy asks if there's an arcade, so Shingo does not ask. And you find out that this is where the Tsukino family met. This is where the father met mother the first time. So that's nice.
At a all genders hot spring, so that's interesting.
Oh yeah, they probably met each other naked. Is that what you?
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah. You don't wear clothes to a hot spring,
I mean, in this episode, you wear towels in the water, which is weird. But yeah, they probably met naked, and there you go. That's fun.
So Usagi stares out at the lake, thinking about Mamoru and how he has gone evil on her. But he's still alive, at least, after being crystalled in the back.
Oh, and her music box keeps playing on its own. It starts
Playing the theme song to Sailor Moon.
Because they're at like the Magic Love Lake.
Yes, exactly. They're at the Magic Love Lake, and so it just starts playing its music without being open. What the? But it's a beautiful place to stand and have the wind blow on your hair. Wistful. So then they go into the hot springs itself, and like I said, it's like we discussed. It's a I mean, because in most manga I've seen, the hot springs are divided up into the sexes. They have the boy side and the girl side. This one does not have. The whole family is in the same place, and they say, but it's fine because we're the only ones here, so it's fine. Oh, did I skip ahead? Yeah, I skipped ahead a little bit.
Now, hasn't there been isn't this the second Hot Springs episode?
Let me think about it.
Isn't there another one?
I mean, it's not that weird of a thing to do in Japan, so if you're gonna like, go for a relaxing time, you're probably gonna go to a hot spring.
Again, I guess that's true.
I
guess
don't-
that is correct.
I don't remember. I don't think there's been a hot springs one. No.
I feel like there's been a Hot Springs one.
I don't think so. I know there's one in, well, there's probably 20 hot springs ones in Ranma that
Yes.
I think of.
I mean, the entire show is based on Hot Springs.
Yeah, that's the entire point.
That show is Hot Springs themed.
Right, but you're not supposed to go bathe in those hot springs unless you want to turn into crazy. Anyway,
Sure.
So
sure.
before we actually get into the hot springs, we cut to the Negaverse because, like Chris said, this episode should have nothing to do with the Negaverse. They don't come out and say, "Well, going to visit hot springs was a thing they did all the time on the moon," or this hot spring
I
is
wish
known
they
as
did,
the
though.
Moon Princess Spring. So whoever bathes in it must be the Moon Princess. They don't try
It
any of
sensed
that.
like an evil energy, right?
Right. They just
So there was like an actual legit reason to go there this time. It was like actually not a bad idea.
Well, there's a legit reason, except what does that, who cares? Like, it's a legit reason for like a paranormal investigator to go there, but why do they care? Like, they just go, so you sensed an energy of like ours? And they're like, yeah, it's kind of like ours, but it's different. And then she goes, go check it out.
It makes, I think like go and check it out is not a bad idea, but all Mamoru did was he looked at it, he was like, this is where the energy is. I guess I'll revive whatever it is and make it appear.
No, he finds out what it is first because he listens to the story.
That's okay. He hears a legend of what it might be. And it turns out it's true. It's true.
Like everything in
course it
this
is.
show,
Why would it not be true?
ridiculous coincidences are all true.
I
So,
don't
but we're getting a
know
little
what
ahead.
I don't know
ourselves.
what you mean by ridiculous coincidences.
So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because yes, Sailor Moon has been gone to this lake, and then there's an energy there that is not related to her, that is just related to some bubbling at the bottom of the lake. And Queen Beryl goes, Endymion, you go check it out. He's like, all right, goes to check it out. And then Kunzite's like, I think that guy is like screwing up. I think he's got his memories back or something. Like he's not right. She goes, cool, you follow him and watch him. So
Well, the hilarious thing is, what she says, what Kunzite says is, he's been acting strange lately. It's like, define lately for me, Kunzite. Has he been acting strange since you killed him and brought him back to life and brainwashed him to be evil?
yeah, basically.
Like, do you think this is a new development? Why lately?
Ever since that moment we killed him.
Why not just say, hey, I don't think this new guy's working out?
Because again, she knows he's her boy toy. You can't say that. So she sends him to follow Endymion and make sure that he's under control and that he doesn't have any memories, etc., etc. So again, ridiculous coincidence that he's going the same place. Now we're at the hot springs, and they go, yeah, it's a unisex hot springs, but it's only us here, so it's no big deal. We'll all just hang out here. And we get the scene where Shingo is wearing his towel like a girl. And is freaked out and doesn't want to get in. And so Sailor Moon, Usagi pushes him in, and then he steals Usagi's towel and runs around with it, so she's naked.
You know,
for a while.
I love that he's like, I don't want to be here with my naked family, and then he takes her clothing away.
Yes. So she's freaking out that he stole her towel, and they're like, settle down, Usagi. Stop yelling. He took my towel. I mean, it also seems super weird. Like, that can't be right? Like, this is just BS. They just did this so they don't have naked people people on the show, right? You don't wear a towel in a hot spring.
Yeah, you would just go in naked.
Like, that seems crazy. So anyway, Shingo leads her
The thing I want to talk about here is
please.
I like it. We see it a couple times in the series. I really like it when Usagi wears her hair up.
Oh, yeah.
Because she gets, instead of the two big ponytails, she gets these two like super thick loops of hair. It's I really like it. It's really cute.
The hair is gone.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way it all fits in that.
There should be way more.
So Shingo leads her to the edge of the spring, which looks out over the lake.
Before we quite move on,
please, let's
how
talk
did
more
they
about
handle
the naked
this?
scene.
Yes. Did you watch the deep
did.
dub of this?
You would not believe it.
How did they deal with this?
You won't believe it. None of
Okay.
it is changed at all.
Really?
If anything, maybe like a frame is gone. I did not notice a difference. I didn't go through frame by frame to see, but like it was the same scene. I was just like, oh, like they left that in. He steals her towel and she's naked and she's got herself pretty well covered up. And there's no like cleavage or anything, even in the Japanese version.
Yeah, you don't really see anything, and it's not like it's a little bit weird, but it's not that weird for the whole like brother stealing someone's clothes while they're showering or whatever thing.
No, I mean it plays as teasing in probably a more realistic way than the tuxedo mask part when he was mean to her.
I'm just like with all the stuff that they changed for the deep dub, it is surprising that they kept that in.
I was surprised as well. I figured they would cut the whole scene. The thing is, this is a weird episode. There's a lot of one thing that we probably won't talk about a lot because there's not much to say is that there's a lot of slowness in this episode.
Yeah,
there's a lot of nature shots.
Slow. Why do you think we can talk for 3 hours about Luna eating cat food?
Right, exactly. There's a lot of leaves falling on water or things like that. And so I would think, maybe this episode was a tough one for them because it's like they'd probably want to cut out all that stuff if they could, but then be like, we have to leave in the naked part.
Well, I guess we'll get to this at the end, but do you think that this episode was so important that they couldn't just skip it?
No, they easily could have skipped it.
Yeah.
I'm sort of, in fact, I'm surprised they didn't, but.
Yeah, because it seems like it's one where it could have played out to be more important, but really, you don't learn anything new. Like, Mamoru still doesn't have his memory. He's still helping her. They still, like, Beryl trusts him, and, I can always forget his name. What's his face? Still doesn't trust him. Kunzai still doesn't trust him. And, like, Sailor Moon still loves him. It's like, it's all stuff they, like, are trying to direct you towards, but it's all already there.
Yeah, it's all just reaffirming. But at the same time, I mean, I guess I can see then why they would do that, though, because it's very explicitly focuses on those things rather than just, like, incidentally. Incidentally, he doesn't remember things. They actually are going to put them face to face and go, do you remember this? It's like, no, don't. Well, at any rate, so Shingo steals the towel, runs to the edge of the spring, which looks out over the lake, and she comes over and she steals the towel back and she puts it on and they look over the lake. And Shingo goes, oh, who's that guy down there? And again, speaking of ridiculous coincidences, the view from there looks directly down at Mamoru, who is looking out over the lake, wondering what's bubbling at the bottom. So, Usagi freaks out, runs out of the hot springs, puts on her robes, which I don't want to call Jedi robes, but they really look like Jedi robes to me. I just do too much Star Wars stuff.
Before that, when she sees...
It's probably just because Lucas stole a lot from samurai films.
Yes.
When she sees Mamoru, she gets so shocked that she turns plaid.
Well, they both go like X-ray. Like her view of him goes X-ray.
There's this super weird thing where it's like everybody's just an outline and skin. And there's like a close-up of Usagi where she's like, it's just eyes and then the background is plaid and like moving around. I have never been so shocked that I have turned plaid. I hope I never am.
Oh man. Well, think about how shocking it would be to see Darien. She thought it was just a weekend away where she could forget all her troubles. And then there's the one guy she's, that screws with her life the most, good and bad.
Right. So she puts on her robes and goes and stumbles across a statue.
Yeah, she thinks it's him. She thinks he's a statue at first. Or the statue's him at first, but no.
The statue of two people.
Yes.
Might I add. He thinks those two people are him.
And so she's like, oh, it's just a statue. And then the music box starts playing again. And it's like, oh, what's going on? And then up comes her mother. No, first comes him.
First he's there, and they're like, "Oh," she's like, "I love you. Do you know who I am?" And he's like, "No." And then her mom shows up.
This is definitely a moment in the Deke one where they made a giant stupid mistake, which made me unhappy. Because in the Japanese, she goes, "Mamoru, it's me, Usagi," and he goes, "Mamoru, Usagi, I don't know those names." And so they do the exact same thing in the Deke one. Darien, Serena, I don't know those names, and I'm like, they call you Prince Darien all the time. They don't use the name Endymion. They call him Prince Darien. They go, "Prince Darien, go check out that lake. Prince Darien is untrustworthy. Go follow Prince Darien." Like, they use his name nonstop. And he's like, "I don't know the name Darien." "Oh, Prince Darien." That's me. I thought you just said Darien. Anyway.
Well, his first name is Prince.
right. His last name is Darien. So yeah, she's just looking at him going like, "Don't you recognize me?" "No, I don't." He's so cold too. Oh, and he says to her, what does he say? He says, because he hears
He's
music.
"Why does this music stir my soul?"
Yes. Why is that story? And she's just like, "Oh my God." So he leaves, and because her mother starts coming, and then he just he pulls a Batman. He disappears. See, there you go, Chris. He's like Batman. You should like him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like Batman.
They both disappear, and she's Commissioner Gordon in this scene. You know those scenes where Commissioner Gordon's like, "Batman, don't you remember me? I'm Commissioner Gordon."
Commissioner Gordon. Those names mean nothing to me.
So the mother comes up and she goes, "Oh, you're looking at the lovers, the guardians of the statue thing. Yeah, cool. It's a legend." She goes, "Oh, what's the legend?" Well, the legend is an angel came from heaven and a man fell in love with that angel. And there was a local girl who was also in love with man who was jealous. And she got so jealous that she turned into a monster. And the two lovers loved each other so much.
Their love sealed her in the lake, and then they used all their love, so they died and ascended to heaven.
Yes, they used all their love up to capture it, and then died of not having any more left.
They died of no love.
And so, then they ascended to heaven. Yeah, they do specifically talk about that. And the girl monster has been trapped at the bottom of the lake ever since. Pretty great, right? What a great story.
You know, it happens.
And so, meanwhile, Darien, skulking in the shadows, hears the story and goes, "Oh, so that's what I said. Or that's what the thing was." And so he puts on a ceremony. And again, I love this thing that he just goes, first, again, let's just say, all right, he's right. It is the thing, like you said, Chris. But the idea that he could just stand at the edge of the lake and be like, "I free you! Come out! I said so!" And it just works. It just works. Like,
He's got his Dark Kingdom powers, man.
he just stands there and yells at the monster at the bottom of the lake until it wakes up. And it wakes up and attacks him. Oh, and meanwhile, Kunzite's watching and going, "You suck." Also, Endymion's hair gets real stupid. Like, while he's like doing the magic, his hair gets all crazy.
It gets big.
It gets real big. Oh man, this scene is too long.
This episode's too long.
Yeah, it's like they really just didn't have enough stuff. Like, there's just a lot of just like stuff. He's got to summon the monster, and then it's got to like blast 5 times before it comes out. So Darien summons that thing. It takes way too long because this episode is slow. And then the monster comes out and it attacks.
Then this is our act break, which is actually a good act break, which is a rarity in this show.
So what happens when we come back?
She just goes right after Usagi's family.
Yeah, she flies up in the air. Yeah,
can we talk about this monster?
Oh,
can we
sure.
talk about the monster for a minute and how the monster is a weird dragon mermaid with pink hair?
Yeah.
Like, the monster looks awesome.
And yellow cat eyes.
Yeah, cat eyes. Very
yellow
specific.
cat eyes, Gem in the Hologram's hair, and it's a mermaid. This is like what so many people that I know want to be. Like, I have like 5 friends that if you said, "Hey, what is your ideal form?" They would probably be like, Gem from the Holograms, but also a dragon mermaid who could fly.
So she's still holding that same grudge. She's still upset that this girl stole her man. And by girl, I mean angel. And so she flies up in the air and just kind of looks around for a young girl, I guess. Because I don't remember the angel looking particularly like Usagi.
She didn't
No.
at all.
No.
So she just kind of
didn't at
flies
all.
up and looks for a girl and sees Usagi and starts coming for them. And meanwhile, Usagi's with her family and just starts freaking out and getting upset. And just like, I'm
Usagi,
leaving.
who's not with a boy. Like, Usagi's not with there is nothing about what Usagi is doing at this hot springs that would indicate that she was...
Didn't the monster just murder random people, though? Isn't that why it had to be stopped?
I guess so, but It must be just killing all women, like all youngish women.
Right, yeah.
Because it doesn't go after mom.
No.
It doesn't go after Mrs. Tsukino.
Not at all. It's so because Usagi, just before it gets there, she like leaves the family so she can run off and be sad, and so it attacks. But then the family's there again right away, so she can't transform.
Right, she only gets like 5 feet.
Yeah, she's like they show her running, but it's like no, she didn't run very far. So. Monster attacks, the family's there, and Usagi actually is like the bravest I've seen her in her civilian identity in a while. Like she stands up in front of her family and is like, all right, you jerk, like leave us alone. And then the father grabs a branch and like it's a bat or something and starts swinging it around.
He's holding it like a samurai sword.
Like a samurai sword.
Yeah.
That's more apt. Trying to protect his family as well. But the monster just stares him down and he starts getting so scared.
It starts spewing pond scum.
It does that as well. Like right at him.
Which is a gross power.
Usagi is going to transform. She's going to blow her secret identity in front of her entire family. But she doesn't have to, because in comes a Black Rose. Tuxedo Mask shows up to save them. Now again, this goes along with his whole thing of these are innocent people. They have nothing to do with why I'm here. I don't want them to get hurt. I'm a good person at heart. I've just been brainwashed.
I wish he said
then
that.
all of a sudden, all the other Sailor Scouts show up.
Yeah.
Apparently, because we don't know why yet. They're just all there.
Yeah, they just show up completely out of the blue. Because Usagi leaves and she's like, I can't help. I can't transform in front of my family, so I can't help. I guess I hope he lives. But then the other scouts just show up. They're doing the bubble blast. They're doing everything. They do all their typical. And they're not doing much. But yeah, they're completely out of the blue. And much to Shingo's delight, by the way. He loves those Sailor Scouts.
Yeah, and like the family runs off. Usagi ditches them, and she becomes Sailor Moon, and they all just keep hitting this thing, and like literally nothing happens. It's almost like a hologram.
Exactly. Until
when the Senshi show up, they all kind of shout out their names.
Yeah.
And Mercury winks, which is kind of surprising. Like it doesn't seem like a very Amy thing to do.
You're not trying to suggest she's flirting with the monster, are you? Because I don't.
No, she's probably winking at Makoto.
No, doesn't make sense either.
Chris, stop.
But then, as alluded to earlier, Ray, what they do is they go, "This is not a monster; it's a what?
Yokai.
A yokai.
Yokai. So what is a yokai? It's like a more like a spirit that is of an emotion.
Yeah.
Yes, yokai is a kind of broad term for a type of Japanese monsters, and I love them. Like they're like super fascinating to read about and find out about. They've shown up in stuff like the Phoenix Wright games and in Usagi Yojimbo, which you've probably seen their most prominent appearances in America. There's a thing that's about to come out that is like kind of slated to be the next big thing after Pokemon, like the next Pokemon, called Yokai Watch. That's all about like having a watch that lets you catch yokai and be friends with them.
Oh, it's an actual watch.
Yeah,
I thought it was
I think that's how it works.
The other
it's a video game about this.
Okay.
And there's a subset of yokai that I love because there's this idea in Japan that anything that exists for 100 years, like if it is still around after 100 years, it gets a spirit. It comes to life, basically.
Okay.
So there's like all kinds of yokai that are just like old things, like umbrellas, like 100-year-old umbrellas, like running around doing stuff. It's super, super fun, I think, but also kind of scary. So yeah, this is a yokai.
So they're all trying their physical attacks on it and it's not working. But then Mars is like, well, if it's a yokai, I got this covered. And she pulls out her non-Sailor Mars attack, her psychic attack, her, what is it called?
Shinto?
Yeah. She throws
her exorcism powers.
Her exorcism powers, exactly, right. And she throws the little thing at its head and a little piece of paper sticks to its head. And then she also does her fire and it encircles it in flame. And then she's like, now heal it. And Sailor Moon heals it, which is a little weird. I'm surprised that healing it work, but that's the format of the show, so that's what happens.
We actually see her do Moon Tiara action for the first time in a while to like kill the monster.
Yeah, it fails.
And then she gets really upset when the monster does not die.
Well, because this is the thing. My wife was like, well, she's going to heal it. And I went, well, I mean, she goes, she got to heal it because it was just a person. And I was like, well, yeah, it was just a person, but that was like hundreds of years ago.
Yeah,
if
now
she
it's a
turns
ghost.
it back into a person, that would be really weird. But she does. But
She turns it back into a dead person.
yeah, she turns it back into a dead person whose spirit ascends to heaven, which is also a little unfair that this person got to become a monster, kill a bunch of people, and then go to heaven because Sailor Moon healed her.
I mean, look, that is actually the prime primary tenet of my religion.
Is that Sailor Moon will heal you someday and forgive you of all your sins?
Exactly. You must accept Usagi into your heart. Will you pray with me,
yes.
Jordan?
I'll give some prayer activation later.
So yeah, it all works out.
They send her to heaven, and then, well, what's up with the Tuxedo Mask? Is he a good guy now? No, he's not a good guy. And he just kind of goes, you got in my way. I could have handled it, but whatever. I'm just gonna leave, and I'll steal the crystal from you later. Bye. And then we cut to
when the yokai ascends into heaven.
Oh yeah,
She like turns around and waves, and Tuxedo Mask like smiles and like waves at her with two fingers. It's like hilarious
because he's still good at heart, Chris. That's why
he is literally watching someone ascend into heaven.
Yep,
and he's just like, yeah,
see ya
later.
I helped. That's what he's thinking. I helped with this. It used to be a monster, now I help. So then we get the scene where the family's looking for Usagi. She comes back to them and she hugs them a bunch and stuff. And again, it's very cute. You get to see her with her family. She, and she does in much the same way that many people do. She's like way more childish with her family. You know what I mean? Like she definitely plays into the I'm a little girl with her family, which is, very real. So they find her. They welcome her back.
And then we just see all the Sailor Scouts in the hot springs. They find out that they're all there because the cat had the pamphlet.
Yeah. Basically,
the cat called them all up.
Perfect payoff.
Full circle.
Perfect payoff.
And they go, we didn't want you to have all the fun, and they dunk her in the hot spring. Which, again, some of them have families and stuff. Right? They just all went, bye everybody, we're going to the hot springs on our own.
Well, we know Minako has a mom.
Yeah.
And we know Amy has a mom.
Yeah.
And we know Ray has a grandpa.
Yeah.
Those are the only extant parents.
That we know. But they were all just fine with it. They were all just like, all right, go to the springs. What do we care?
Yeah. It's a 2-day weekend.
It's a weekend.
Have fun.
The end.
Go drown your friend. Because it looks like they hold Usagi under the water.
Oh, yeah.
It is
They do.
such a long shot of them dunking Usagi that lasts forever. It's like, oh yeah, this is the episode that ends with these 4 girls drowning their friend.
It really goes on a long time. Damn. So that was the episode.
That was, in fact, the episode, and I feel like we all learned a lot from it. Jordan, do we have the original Sailor Moon Says queued up?
Jealousy can be a terrible monster. It can make a really nice person cruel and short-sighted.
Everyone gets jealous sometimes because of something someone else owns, like a brand new bike, or because they're more popular,
Or because they stole someone else's boyfriend. The point is, you can't let things like that eat you alive. Right, there are too many other great things going on. Sailor Moon Says, remember?
Again, actually relevant. Shockingly relevant.
Maybe all the boyfriend stealing ones are relevant.
Remember. Why does she just yell out remember at the end? But it's also really weird the way she puts it. There's just too many other good things going on. If you really have nothing going on, feel free to be jealous though.
You've got nothing else to do.
And also, Ray didn't steal Serena's boyfriend because at the time Serena hated him, but whatever, we'll fudge that.
I thought that was Serena saying, yeah, you shouldn't be mad at me for stealing your boyfriend.
Oh, no, they were showing clips of the episode where they went on a date and Serena was following them around and getting jealous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what did we learn from this episode? Erica, we'll start with you.
All right, I learned that apparently people don't mind wearing wet towels in the freezing cold.
I learned that you should leave notes for your cats. I mean, again, a lot of times when we go away, we leave notes for the people who are going to come and cat sit our cats. But we could just get around that whole thing by just leaving the notes for the cats. Here's where your food is. I hope you learned how to use a can opener, etc.
Do you really think you could just get around that by leaving the note for the cats?
Don't you think?
Is that what you think?
That way the cats could take care of themselves.
I'm not sure that's going to work out, Jordan.
That wasn't the lesson.
I'm not sure that's going to work out.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, look, whatever you learned.
Yeah.
As long as we understand that it's Usagi's fault.
How about you?
I learned that you shouldn't impose on your friends to come and fight a monster with you on their valuable holiday weekend. Otherwise, they will probably drown you. They will surround you and hold you under the water until you stop kicking, which is what happens at the end of this episode.
I didn't think of how lucky they are, too. How lucky she is, I should say, that they even came and transformed. They could have just gone into the hot springs and relaxed.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing
True.
they came out and saved her. Oh well. What do you think? Recommend this episode?
Honestly, like this episode is it's not bad, and I do always like it when there is something that's out there. You know, we talked about this in the some previous episodes. Like I like it when there's something out there that's not entirely related specifically to the Dark Kingdom. Like I like that there's other stuff going on in the world.
Sure.
But I would say this episode, like you said, it's pretty skippable. It's slow. It doesn't really advance the plot that much.
Yeah.
Nothing is established that we couldn't, that we didn't already know. So I don't know if I really recommend this episode.
I mean, I will definitely go and say these batch of episodes are not as good as the pre-Silver Crystal episode. The Rainbow Crystal episodes did a great job of being new stuff that was killing time before a big revelation, but like felt important and was awesome. And then since then, they've just kind of been going, oh, is this the princess? No. Is this the princess? No. And it just hasn't been as good. And then this one, it just is a step even further from that. It's just completely unrelated to anything. If you're looking to skip episodes, definitely skip this one. But
yeah,
it has its moments, but not the best.
It has its moments, but yeah, it's nothing that is. I can't really see this one being someone's favorite episode.
No.
Although maybe it is. Maybe it's yours.
It isn't.
I mean, no, I don't mean yours. I mean the listeners.
No.
And that pretty much brings us to the end of this week's show.
Yeah, tell us where we can find you on the internet.
Okay, you can find me, Erica Henderson, at ericafailsatlife.tumblr.com.